The idea that a kid can walk into any store, into the toy aisle, and see a doll and a Barbie, a doll that they love with Down syndrome is incredible.
Just being able to capture what Down syndrome is, and that having Down syndrome doesn't hold us back. We want to share our abilities and not our disabilities. And then with the pinkies being called, it signifies that we are more alike than different.
Hi, I'm Nat, and today I want to talk about Mattel and the new Barbie doll they just released that represents somebody that has Down syndrome. It is a first of its kind, and at the beginning, a lot of people that are conservative or anti-woke saw the word representation and started to hate on it and say that it might be another pandering effort by a big company. However, they started to think about it a little bit deeper, and they realized that it might actually be pro-life. Now, I am not 100% pro-life or pro-choice. I kind of stand in the middle, but I do agree with them that, unfortunately, a big majority of babies that might have been born with Down syndrome are aborted nowadays because you can do tests for it in utero. And there are a lot of negative connotations that come with Down syndrome that are still within our society. In this report from AP News, they say that Mattel collaborated with the National Down Syndrome Society to create the Barbie and ensure the doll accurately represents a person with Down syndrome, the company said. Design features of the new Barbie were made under guidance from NDSS, Mattel said. In addition to portraying some physical characteristics of a person with Down syndrome, the Barbie's clothing and accessories carry special meaning. The blue and yellow on the doll's dress, accompanied by butterflies, represent symbols and colors associated with Down syndrome awareness. And the 3 chevrons on the Barbie's necklace represent how people with Down syndrome have 3 copies of their 21st chromosome, Mattel said. In addition, the Barbie wears ankle-foot orthotics, which some children with Down syndrome use. And being a person that has volunteered and worked with children and people with Down syndrome, I can say that this is a very respectful way of a company to actually try to achieve representation and consulting with the people that will actually be impacted by it. We see a lot of examples where companies try to just go with it to get woke points or maybe increase their CEI or DEI or ESG scores and don't really look after the true meaning of what they're trying to represent or what they're trying to include in their advertisements, for example. Now, contrast this, a doll that not just people with Down syndrome, but any child can play with and start to include and understand that not everybody may look the way they do and not everybody may think the way they do or have the same abilities that they do. Contrast that with exploiting people with Down syndrome for political clout and for woke points. This is exactly what happened a few months ago when this new troupe called Drag Syndrome started to put on shows. These are people with Down syndrome that have essentially been made up to look like drag queens and told to say certain things, or they're maybe imitating other drag queens, but they do not have the developmental capacity and ability to understand the true connotations of what they're doing and saying.
What is my favorite thing in drag? I was born to dance.
Now, if I have to explain it for the people in the back, drag shows, historically and still to this day, carry very sexual connotations and innuendos, and that is the whole point of the fun, and that is why people enjoy them. They are adult entertainment, as many states have now said. So when drag shows are happening in schools or libraries for or with children, and now people with Down syndrome, you're essentially taking advantage of people that don't have the developmental capacity to understand what they're truly doing or what they're actually seeing, because a lot of these sexual elements are not easily understood by either children or people with Down syndrome. In this case, they're essentially exploiting people with Down syndrome because to them, they're playing dress up and they might be imitating a character from RuPaul's Drag Race that they admire, but they might not truly understand why they admire that person and some of the things that that person is saying that now they are told to say or they are told to do. And they're doing these shows for people that don't have Down syndrome. So essentially, you're having people do and say sexualized things that don't understand them to their full extent, maybe, for people that do understand it. I mean, this is complete exploitation. And I'm not the only one that's thinking this, because a while ago, lawyer Marina Medvin said this is unethical and this is evil. Exploiting and demeaning helpless people with Down syndrome for entertainment or political clout is depraved. And again, while I don't think that they are helpless people, I think that they're being taken advantage of by them not truly realizing what it is they're saying and doing, or what the people that are watching them might be actually thinking or might be actually understanding from these shows they're putting on.
I like to burn stages. I like to kill. You can't be nervous. I don't hide from the shadows. I had a bit of fighting me.
So while in a non-existent world where there is no politicization, there's no wokeness, there's no crazy progressive or activists, inclusion and diversity and body positivity could be actual good things. With body positivity, I mean, it started as a movement to include people that may have lost an arm or might look different than you, not just in race or in weight, but in actual physical capacities or capabilities, while inclusion might mean including people that have a different developmental ability than you do, or understanding that not everybody thinks the same way you do. Those would and were positive things, but now they've been completely turned into what we see today. And this is why people that are anti-woke and maybe on the conservative or right-leaning side go against all of this at first glance, because, again, it's been so polluted by companies and people and activists that don't truly have the best interests at heart of those that they're trying to represent or include. And they're essentially just doing it for political and woke points and clout. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.